Hey guys, I'm back on this car. Alright, so the guy who owns this car, you guys know, had this whole car sandblasted and then put it in this brown primer to protect the bare metal. And I've said this multiple times. I've got right here, right now, I've got this split in half. I've got close to an hour just stripping this off with this disc, and that's a badass disc. 80 grit won't even touch it. So I looked it up on the Lowe's website. It's some kind of alkali paint. It's oil based, which, you know, I don't know. Whatever it is, it freaking sticks like nobody's business. So I'm at the point where I go, okay, do I just 180 this and shoot my epoxy primer over it? Because the shit is stuck on there like crazy. But if the epoxy that I put on top of this, because this isn't epoxy primer, this is just primer, so it's porous, which means moisture can get through to the metal. So I have to seal it. Well, by using the epoxy primer, that's sealing it. So all I have to do is put a tooth on this, 180 grit tooth, whatever, and then spray that epoxy over it, and then do my filler work over that. The problem is, if that epoxy doesn't want to adhere to this right, or it reacts or whatever, it lets loose. This is not ever going to let loose. I can promise you. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm thinking, you know, I've got this whole thing. I've got all around the sides. I've got the whole roof, the dash, the other door. I mean, I'll have 40 hours in just stripping some of this primer off here probably. So I'm considering giving a holler to, or shout out to SPI Epoxy guy. Maybe even showing him this video that I'm making right now and saying this is what I've got. And seeing if he thinks that his primer would go over this and adhere to it, or if there could possibly be a reaction. I know there's sheets you can pull up, technical data sheets and stuff like that. It tells exactly what's in the product and all that. But I don't actually have the product. He sprayed this on. Like he said, it's a Lowe's Rust-Oleum. There's a lot of different Rust-Oleums. There's only a few different brown ones, but there's industrial, there's professional, there's oil-based, there's stuff for just automotive, and I'm not sure which one this is. So, yeah, I'm kind of having a difficult time with this right now, trying to get all this off of here, and thinking, man, I wish I'd have got the car straight from the blaster. You know what I mean? And then been able to use my epoxy primer on it. But this shit here, I mean, it may be the bomb. It may be the best primer ever, but I just don't know. So I'm kind of in a dilemma right now as to what to do, because this is so important that I get this off here. Or not, or leave it on and go over it. But jeez, you always say stick with a certain, you know, if you're going to stick with PPG or SPI or whatever, you start with their base and go up with their product line. Well, that's not the case. That's why I thought I need to take this Rust-Oleum off here, because I'm probably going to go SPI over top of this, and then I think we're going to probably use PPG paint, and I'm not sure on the clear yet. Hey guys, fixing to do a little bit of fiberglass work. Got that cleaned up with waterborne wax and grease remover, and I'm using my heat lamp here to heat it up to make sure I get all, because waterborne wax and grease remover, just anything in the name, it's water and alcohol, so it's got some water in it. So I want to make sure all that water gets out of that metal, evaporates good. So I'm using my heat lamp here to heat that up, make sure it's gone. Then I'll come back over that with my fiberglass short strand filler. I've got a couple of spots. I've got these little spots here that we talked about, and then once I do that, do the insides here, keyhole. I'm gonna do over top of the. Let's see. Remember those in here where I welded through from the other side? I don't know if that'll show or not, but anyway, I've got four or five spots across through there from the underneath side that I gotta do. Then I'll flip the whole thing over, clean it with wax and grease remover, and do the other sides of these welds. Then I'll sand all that down. So yeah, that's it. So I'll bring you back when I mix up some spilt filler and put it on and kind of show you how it goes. I don't need to cover this whole thing. I just need to cover the weld area. So I'll probably just run some filler up this, this edge, and then down on this edge here. There's no reason to do anything on those edges. So yeah, I'll bring you back. That's what we're doing today, and I'll talk to you in a little bit. See you. All right, guys, there she is, butt naked. You can see I filled that keyhole in. Let me just tell you, that was a lot of work. That primer sticks like nothing I've ever seen. I don't even know how to explain it. 80 grit won't take it off. I use this deal here. Then I went over it with 80 grit. Then I had some 60 grit that I went over it with, but I only had one piece of that. That took a lot off in a faster. I used a mud hog and took a lot of that off. Then I went back over it with 80, still had stuff in, the little pits and stuff, so I went back over it with 180 to try to get all the fine little detail stuff out. Then I went back over it again with 80. So it's been a hell of a process. You guys can see right there where they've run across it with some kind of super coarse paper. Of course, you've seen those scratches. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that'll sneak up and bite you if you just shot primer over that, blocked it, and painted it, which is what we would have done in the body shop. Well, a couple months later, when that starts shrinking up, you're gonna see all those scratches. That's why you gotta build that stuff up. That's why you gotta put your filler on it and put your primer, build up, however many coats of primer, and let it shrink, die back's what they call it. Then you can block it out. So, that's why these things take so long. I mean, if you do them right and you want it to last and look good, and like I said, you can do any car and zip it out, make the paint look amazing, and then 2 or 3 months later, or a month later, however long, when all them solvents have escaped completely and it's done curing out completely, it shrinks up, and that's when you're going to start seeing those little fine scratches, and that's what bites you. Your paint job went from what you thought was a show car to just a driver. Anyway, I don't know how much more I get done today. It's 6 o'clock. I need to go get dinner. I didn't get any of the underside done. Literally, I've spent most of the day getting this prepped. I've got all of the fiberglass on it. You see there, I kind of half-ass blocked that down just to get the rough shit off. It'll need to be detailed out a little bit better than that, obviously, but same with these. In here, I didn't even sand those, I just wiped it for now. Same with the keyhole back there, wiped it. This one here. Several more places I think I had some fiberglass filler for the welds or whatever, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I need to take a pick and clean these out. But other than that, yeah, what a freaking job, dude. That's crazy. I don't know that whatever this Rust-Oleum primer is not the best primer I've ever seen. As far as trying to get it off goes, it's incredible. So yeah, I still have to wax and grease remove it and get all the crap off of it. It's still pretty dirty, but that's it. So yeah, this is taking longer than I thought it ever would have. Just to strip a door. So, you know, my advice to you is, if you're gonna sandblast your car, sandblast it, bring it back, do your metal prep, clean it up, and put the epoxy on it that you want to stay on it forever. And then you have a base to build off of, because if you put something like this on there that you think you have to take off, which, like I said, hell, I probably could have left it on there and been fine. I don't know if it would have reacted with the other epoxy or any of the other kind of products that I'm putting on it or not, and that was the kicker for me. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of work. Stripping that down, same deal. I'm gonna have to. That's the whole roof. I'm gonna have to strip just like I did that. This whole door here, same deal. So all the interior. I don't know. I may call SPI guy and find out what he thinks on, you know, just scuffing that to 180 and going over it with his epoxy to seal the metal. And I don't know. Whatever this was sealed the metal good. There was no rust. There's no nothing underneath it. I mean, it's all clean, shiny metal. So it protected. It did what it was supposed to do. But man, I'm so glad I've got all these other aftermarket parts, because I won't have to sit and do that. Stuff comes off easy compared to this. That'll come off with 80 grit, no problem. And you can see, I mean, it just real quick just zips that right off there. I don't know how many coats he put on that, but it's freaking thick. So, Daryl, you did a fantastic job, brother, with that brown epoxy, or brown primer. It's not epoxy, but brown primer. And it's stuck like nobody's business. And it's making it tough. Tough. All right, guys, that's it for me for now. And if I happen to get any more, I'll bring you back. If not, then I'll upload the video. And it doesn't look like a whole lot of progress, but let me let you know that I've been out here working my ass off trying to get every nook and cranny on this thing done, and it's just taking me all day long. So, all right, guys, have a good one. See you.